I did. I'll
Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by Deck Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And we're very proud to be part of the Variety Sports Network. And this studio is nameless. So if you know anybody that wants to sponsor this studio, please, thank you so much to Bradshaw Bourbon, but they ghosted us. In any case, I won't get into that any further, but welcome in everybody that is watching live. Welcome in everybody that watches on your own, and welcome in to all those who are listening. The Pittsburgh Steelers play football tomorrow night. I know football, very loose term there. It is preseason. But welcome in, and it'll be great to see everybody. Freak is here for his weekly AA meeting. I'm just glad we can provide something, Gentlemen, I hope you are all well and ready to go. And by that, I mean, we're not going to talk Brandon Aiyuk tonight, are we?
No, he's not a Steeler. Why would we need to?
Never heard of him.
Exactly. Actually, I'm going to start out with a quarterback question. Ian, I know you like these, so I'm going to start with you first. And it's a yes or no. I will mute your asses if you start rambling. I will give you time to defend your answer once everyone has gone. Okay? Here's your scenario, question, whatever you want to call it. Russell Wilson leads the Pittsburgh Steelers to the Super Bowl title this year. But for the rest of your life, the Steelers never return to the Super Bowl. Are you taking that? Yes or no?
No.
All right, I got to know. Ryan?
No.
Ben?
The rest of Ben's life is a lot shorter than the rest of our lives.
I was going to say, Ben's life is much shorter, so it's a different thing.
I'm going to go with no.
So, just to be clear, that means that you guys would be under the impression that the Steelers over the next, let's say, 40 years, for some of us, are going to go to multiple Super Bowls, perhaps? Maybe even win.
I'm outliving all you fuckers. I've got a plan, so...
Oh, geez, here we go. He's probably going to have his head put in ice like Ted Williams.
So,
I'm not doing that. I'm just working my ass off now while I'm still alive.
Good for you.
So, based on logic, which no Steelers fans have, especially this week, they've been to eight total, eight Super Bowls since 1974. So in 50 years, they've been to 8 of the 50, 8 to the 40-something Super Bowl. Yeah, sorry.
Well, this year is Super Bowl 50.
So 8. So my bad. I'm over mathing the math.
I'm not good
at math. They've been 8 Super Bowls in the past.
Steelers have gone to about 15% of the Super Bowls overall.
Yeah.
Yes. So chances are they're going to make it back.
Okay.
Multiple times over the next 40 years.
Well, we'll get back to the Russell Wilson part of this.
I like logic.
Once we start talking quarterbacks, because we will get into that. But one of the things I definitely want to do tonight, we'll talk a little bit about the depth chart this week. We'll talk a little bit about what we're looking for tomorrow night. And I think we're going to go beyond just no injuries and stuff like that. That's a given. We always want that, but maybe some other more specific things. But obviously we got to start with the talk about Brandon Aiyuk. And what I want to do is just try to have you guys explain, because you all do it better than I do. The vantage points, if you're the Niners, if you're the Steelers, if you're him, the money angle, why it works, why it doesn't work, all these different things. And then once we've done that, then you can just fucking unload on Twitter and everything else, because I know that's what we're going to do. So, Ian, I'm going to give it to you first. Is this going to happen?
I will be shocked if it happens. It would, for all the reasons that, Ryan and Ben both independently of each other on Twitter basically said the same thing, which I completely agree with. So credit to the folks next to me here, on the live stream that agreed with each other, that said not only to trade for Brandon Aiyuk and what you would have to give up to get him, but to give Aiyuk a contract of $30 million a year would make him the highest paid Steeler. So you're going to pay a guy who has never played a snap for your team more than TJ Watt, who is a future Hall of Famer, who you drafted and have developed. And that just goes against the Steelers' complete organizational philosophy of draft and develop and pay your guys and reward them and all that. If we were able to get him, it would be pretty cool to have him on the team, but it doesn't make sense from an organizational philosophy standpoint of how they've operated forever. And there's, like Art 2 or not, there's still a Rooney in charge of the team.
Yep.
And, Omar he's not Kevin Colbert, but he was the contracts guy under Kevin Colbert. Like, it's not like this is a completely new regime either. Right. So, there's still quite a bit of that old regime there. And I have a hard time seeing it happening. I'll let Ben talk a little more about the contract situation and the finances, but I think from a base level, to answer your question, I would be stunned if it happened. I think Aiyuk, the stories out there that he wants to go to either Pittsburgh or Washington, probably because he, has some familiarity with members of the coaching staff or likes them or whatever else. Right. We did put in some work on him in the pre-draft process. I know he's made no secret that he likes Mike Tomlin, and a lot of players do.
Right.
But at the end of the day, there's two pieces that need to fall into place for this to happen for any team not named San Francisco. And they're still a bit like, he is under contract with the 49ers. And I think the situation, and I'll let Ben talk more about this, is that he's on a 5th-year option. The team has total control here. It's not like the Le'Veon Bell situation where it was a franchise tag, where Bell had the option to sign or not sign the franchise tag and all that. Like, San Francisco has total control here. So the two things that need to fall into place is a team needs to come up with an offer that San Francisco is willing to accept to part with him. And two, that same team has to be willing to offer Aiyuk a contract he's willing to accept. So you might find a team that's willing to do one and not the other. And it sounds like, from the rumors, that's kind of what happened, that, you had a Cleveland or a New England that were willing to meet one of the offers, but not both.
Right.
And Aiyuk has some say in where he goes, because you have to give him a contract that he'll accept. And if he's like, well, New England sucks balls and I don't want to go play there, or I don't want to move to Ohio because I have a brain in my head, then there's So you need both pieces to fall into place for it to happen, and I'll just be shocked if it doesn't. With that, I'll turn it over to somebody else to talk.
Ben, go ahead.
First, New England was willing to meet all the parameters. Cleveland was willing to meet all the parameters. They were willing to give San Francisco whatever they wanted. They were willing to give him $30 million plus a year. New England had negotiated a contract with his agent that was acceptable. He just doesn't want to play in either one of those cities. Word is that he just kind of has a feeling about Pittsburgh, and I think that's Mike Tomlin. But setting all that shit aside, the rumor yesterday was that the deal was a 4-year extension for $27 million per, but that it was heavy in guarantees. So it was the guaranteed cash that the Steelers were competing with. It wasn't so much the overall value of the contract. It's the guaranteed cash at this point that this is all revolving around. So even at 27 per, he'd be below TJ's 28 per. And I thought that was, basically they probably had to go to the guy and go, look, man, we can't give you more than TJ Watt. We just can't. it's going to create a problem here. So we'll give you 27, da, 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 da. And then they thought they had a deal with the 49ers with trade parameters because they were not offering as much, but it was just like, hey, nobody else is going to give you what you want either. You're not going to be able to consummate this trade with anybody, rather. At least with us, you get something back for the guy. You know, that kind of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, I don't know what it was. I have no idea. Rumor. It was not a first round pick, but it was a pick and a player. So who knows? Maybe it was fucking Calvin Austin and a second round pick. I have no idea.
Okay. No, and
but
you know, yeah.
All of that. As to whether or not I think it'll happen, no, I do not think it'll happen. I think that the 49ers are stalling for as long as they possibly can to try and get him to match the deal, match the offer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of Steelers fans are saying, well, he doesn't want to stay there. He just want to stay there. How the fuck do you know? How do you know that? And talk to him? Well, his girlfriend said bad things about John Lynch in the offseason. So?
Yeah,
big fucking deal. So?
Scarps jump
I'm just like,
yeah. Getting back to the 3-team trade thing, which is the flavor of the day for this fucking saga.
Yes, that's the new flavor today.
Is it this isn't the NBA, although people think it is, where these 3-team things happen, but I believe it was the Eagles in 2017. It was like the Bills, Rams, and Eagles, because Sammy Watkins went somewhere. Anyway.
I just found it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I remember that, but sometimes I'm like Dustin Hoffman and Rain Man.
Because the Steelers fans told you Sammy Watkins was coming to Pittsburgh.
So I've actually not fought with as many people this week on Steelers Twitter as I thought I was going to, but nonetheless, there has been absolutely zero logic this week, and it is so frustrating because people just want to believe what they want to believe and hear what they want to hear, which could be said for any sort of subject. Does nothing to do with Steelers football. But the 49ers obviously have a plan, because if they really wanted to get a bang for their buck, they would have traded him during the draft. You know what I mean? Remember when Cortland Sutton was supposed to come here? I feel like this whole Brandon Aiyuk thing has just been manifested because he was on the pivot with Ryan Clark and was like, "Oh, I could play in Pittsburgh," and like everybody just clung to that.
Yep,
I fully agree. I
think
that fucking Ben. What
I think
talking about in the chat?
Is pulling a page. I think he's pulling a page from the AB playbook, but I think he's trying to force a trade to the team he wants.
Okay, but
take that scenario, Ryan. Yeah.
Okay. Remind me of that point. Let me just get back to. I will go back to what Ben said, because I think it is a really good point. I don't want to give him credit, but I will. But so the 49ers are obviously either playing hardball or putting shit out there or whatever. But this is what has pissed me off the most and frustrated me the most this week is that the 49ers do not have to trade him.
No.
And I keep hearing, oh, he's a distraction. They just want to get rid of him. How many distractions have we dealt with as fans with the Steelers? They gave Antonio Brown multiple contracts before he went apeshit. They tried to give Le'Veon Bell another contract before he declined it. Mm-hmm. So don't tell me that that the 49ers don't know how to handle a distraction. If he refuses to play, they can just toll his contract and they can tag him 2 consecutive years. Now, I understand that they maybe want to get something out of it, but if he plays next year or doesn't play next year, they'll get a 3rd-round comp pick for him. So, they hold the cards. Where he wants to go and his preference only means a little bit.
Yeah.
He obviously didn't want to go to New England or New England. I'm sorry. Obviously didn't want to go to
Right.
New England or Cleveland.
Right.
But the 49ers were like, okay, well, you don't want to go there, but they have the package that we want. So I think they're respecting him, and by respecting him, I agree with Ben. I think they're just using this to re-sign him because at this point, the Steelers are, and Jerry Dulac just said the Steelers are waiting to hear from the 49ers. At this point, the Steelers aren't offering enough. And if you're the 49ers, and this is why would the 49ers give him up for peanuts? And don't say it's because it's the con artist, because that's bullshit. Because
No.
if John
It's situation.
John Lynch isn't stupid.
No.
What is going on? So getting back to Ben's point about he wants to try to play for a team that he wants to play for. And yeah, maybe you're Ben, I don't disagree with that, but I just want to say this. Right now, would you rather play for the 49ers or the Steelers? And if you say Steelers, you're fucking stupid. You
49ers,
actually,
but he
actually scratch that, reverse it. You are not using logic. That's my flavor this week.
Now, when is Brock Purdy up for a new deal? Because that weighs in here, doesn't it? I mean, they're not just going to give him peanuts. But Ben, you're in and out, man. And you're frozen.
So one thing I do want to mention though is, just for consideration in this, $30 million a year is very different in different places. And this gets brought up a lot more in basketball, and I know Ryan said this isn't the NBA.
Nope.
But think about California has like a 13% state income tax, and Pennsylvania has a 3% state income tax, and New York's is like 10%.
Those things matter.
So, $30 million, it's a ton of money, but $30 million in your pocket in Pennsylvania is a lot more than it is in California.
Well,
so,
I'd love to know what it is in Massachusetts, because supposedly he turned down $32 million per year from the Patriots.
It's 9% in Massachusetts, but
okay.
Yeah.
He ain't a little bit, you talk about that, a little bit of inflation. But no, I don't know. Yeah. Ian, go ahead. I'll come back.
No, I just, when somebody it's rare when you're not a free agent, it's rare that a player has the ability to dictate where they go in a trade scenario.
Don't more and more players feel like they have that capability now, though?
They do. And Antonio Brown kind of started that when he kind of nixed the trade to the Bills.
Right.
Remember that half hour when Antonio Brown was going to be traded to the Bills?
Oh, man.
Best thing the Bills never did.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But also, and the other thing I have trouble with is, Steelers Twitter. Can we go off on Steelers Twitter now?
Yes, we've covered a lot of the bases. Now it's time to go after the social media shit.
They're so convinced that Aiyuk is this elite receiver, and from Aiyuk's standpoint, seeing the numbers that people are getting, he should absolutely ask for $30 million a year if someone's willing to pay him.
With him asking for it.
But from a league-wide standpoint, like, Dallas is hemming and hawing about paying CeeDee Lamb, and if you ask me, I'd have CeeDee Lamb any day over Brandon Aiyuk. Like I think he's a much better receiver. I'm not convinced. Ayuk's a very good player,
yes,
but I'm not convinced he's a top 10 receiver in this league right now with the talent around the rest of the league. And he might not even, and this is the problem San Francisco is having, he might not even be the best receiver on their team. Samuel does so much, or Deebo Samuel, sorry, Deebo Samuel does so much more for them, from an all-around offensive standpoint than Aiyuk does. And they're kind of in the same boat of they paid Deebo, and now they're like, we don't know if we want to pay this other guy more than we're paying Deebo. And, and like we've talked about on this show with paying multiple players at a position, right? Like we were kind of surprised when they paid Highsmith because they were already paying Watt at the same position. Like, does San Francisco want to sink that much money into one position?
And I, this is just me. I think Brandon Aiyuk is just a slightly better Deontay Johnson, and they literally traded him away. And before you say this, I want to be clear. If you look at Deontay Johnson's best 2 years in the league, which came with Ben Roethlisberger, and you look at Brandon Ayuk's last 2 years, Brandon Aiyuk has played in 2 more games, but yet he has 40-something less receptions. He has a couple hundred, I think he has 200 more yards, but they have the same amount of touchdowns. So for everyone sitting here thinking we're going to be getting Jerry Rice in his prime here, and this is what I'm going to get back to. We are so starved.
Yes.
We are so starved for playmakers. And we are Casey's going to get to the Omar Khan obsession a little bit later, but we are so starved for like a name, or because for the longest time we had guys that were really good and they were a name. We haven't had like a name and guys that were good in so long. So we hear Brandon Aiyuk, we're like, oh, we need this guy. We need this guy. We need
especially what he did to us week 1 last year. People
and that's wonderful. And here's what, and we could talk about, but especially what he did to us. But yet we sit here and talk about how elite our defense is and how amazing our defense is. And it's like, our defense gets exposed all the time. Like it's like, so maybe we do need Brandon. Maybe we do need Brandon Aiyuk because, but we're supposed to be run heavy. Like anyway, I don't know. There's a lot I want to say about this, but
Ben, welcome back.
Bottom line, on this. Okay,
here's the bottom line.
Now, bottom line on this is the Steelers are hanging out, waiting for the 49ers to realize that they're not going to get a better offer that Aiyuk will accept. Yes, New England and Cleveland were both willing to meet their trade parameters, give him the contract he wanted. He doesn't want to fucking go there. So what's going to happen is they'll agree to a trade. They'll try to trade him. They'll send the paperwork to the league office. The league office will send it to New England or Cleveland, and Cleveland won't send it back to the league office. So there will be no trade because the player won't sign the deal. And if the player won't sign the deal, there will be no trade.
Right.
You can't just say the player has no control over it. The player does have control. That's the reality of the situation. I remember when we were trying to trade AB, I was like, oh, he's got no control. We can trade him wherever we want. Yeah, you can, because if the team realizes that player will not report, they are not going to trade for him.
They're not going to pull the trigger.
Yeah, bottom line. Okay. One more point, real quickly.
Yeah, good.
So you've got Pittsburgh waiting, hanging around, going, okay. Eventually, they're going to realize that they're not going to get a better offer than this one. In fact, they're not going to get any offer that he will accept. You've also got Cleveland hanging around, even though they say they're out, but they just keep upping their offer a little bit.
Yeah.
And eventually, they'll get to the point where they're going to say, look, we'll guarantee every dollar if you'll just come and play in Cleveland. Eventually, they'll get there.
Yeah.
They will get there. And when that happens, he may go, well, shit, $100 million is a lot of money. Fuck, maybe I will go to Cleveland. And so you got two teams kind of, I don't know, playing chicken with the 49ers right now. And the 49ers in the meantime are just going, well, shit, we got the framework for a deal. Why don't we just go back to them and say, hey, look, we'll match that deal. You said you'd take it there. But for whatever reason, he's not. He seems bitter. Bitter. That's my take.
Ian, you had a point, then I'll get up to Scarps.
Yeah, so just my final thought on this is, does Brandon Aiyuk make the Steelers better this year? Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And
does he make him a contender, though?
A contender for what?
A Super Bowl win.
A Super Bowl?
No.
All right. I mean, here's the deal.
Would we even win the AFC? I mean, that's what I'm saying.
You have to go through Patrick Mahomes.
I agree.
And not only is Patrick Mahomes a great quarterback, he's also one of the most clutch playoff performers that we've ever like the drives he's been able to put together in the playoffs in crunch time to win games. Like, as long as Mahomes is around, his team is the favorite to win no matter what.
I agree.
It's Ben, I know you
Tyreek Hill being the highest rated player in the NFL top 100 is total bullshit.
Yeah,
he will never convince me.
By
I agree 100% with your point.
Yeah.
And-
Nobody's more valuable than Mahomes.
Scarps.
So yeah, I think my thought was Aiyuk makes the Steelers better today.
Yeah.
Does he make the Steelers better long term? We don't have a quarterback solution after this year. We have a 1 year
you.
stopgap at quarterback.
And
So-
we'll get to those quarterbacks here
We
shortly.
don't know if we have one
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah,
Right.
well,
We
We have
don't
one-
know.
Who's stealing my thunder?
okay.
Uh,
At any
Scarps.
rate, would it be cool if it happened? Yes,
Of course.
I would love to see Aiyuk as a Steeler because he would make us better. But nevertheless,
And
I
it would
don't
piss
know if
off
it's
Browns fans.
I don't know if it's the best move in the long run.
Yeah.
And I don't see this organization doing that.
Yeah.
Making that move. So
Ryan Scarpino.
I want to be fair. I want to be fair to Omar in this scenario, and this is true. I am not the biggest Omar fan, but I do respect that he's forging his own path. And if his best offer is 2 second-round picks, and the 49ers say, sorry, dude, we need either a first-round pick and a player or a second-round pick and a lesser player,
Mm-hmm.
and they say no, and Omar says, dude, I can't do that. I respect Omar for that because Omar's not dumb. Like, I think
No.
he's worked with Mike and Art since 2007.
Mm-hmm.
He's been at the Steelers since 2001, so he had the chin. You know, he worked with Cowher. He had the
Yeah.
chin. So, like, Omar's not dumb. So I keep hearing about this new regime and all this bullshit that you want to manifest on Steelers Twitter. It's the same dudes, but Kevin's gone and Andy Weidel is now in. And I'll say this. I know Andy Weidel has been aggressive, especially when he's with Philly.
Yep.
But you know what? This is the way it is. Art II is still the team president, and he isn't going to open the checkbook for Omar, just like he didn't open the checkbook for Kevin. And this team is routinely in the bottom of cash spending. And that's like what Ben said
Middle.
earlier.
Middle.
It's bottom half.
Okay,
But yes,
fine.
middle to bottom. half.
19th or 20th.
Okay,
Is where I put
but
them usually.
they're still not in the top.
Right.
Right.
So
Right.
So-
Lower, yeah.
So you're right, Ben. The Cleveland might eventually say, "Here's $100 million guaranteed, and Amari Cooper, you're gonna go to Frisco." And Frisco's gonna say, "Shit, I'll take Amari Cooper," because we don't have any receivers other than George Pickens. So
well, and
I mean,
they drafted Ricky Pearsall.
he's hurt though, and I think
Yeah,
and
but
they know that.
They also signed Chosen Anderson today as well.
That's like signing Ben Anderson. What the fuck?
Yeah, pretty much. Although I might be a hair slower. Just a
Slightly,
tiny bit.
slightly.
I'd fucking take you to catch a ball right now over that guy. Jesus Christ.
So just to put the wraps on the Aiyuk stuff, if it were a second rounder and a player, is there a player you'd be willing to part with to get Brandon Aiyuk? Pose that to any of you.
Oh gosh.
Najee Harris.
Mason's not here anymore, so can't trade him away. Fuck.
We don't really have like great depth anywhere. I said Najee somewhat jokingly, but like they declined Najee's 5th-year option, so he's only here one more year. James Daniels, they didn't extend him; he's only here one more year. Those are the two that make the most sense of like starters that only have a year left on their deal. But I mean, honestly, we don't have, Highsmith's contract is not tradable at this point. We would be in a worse cap situation. We'd have
They're not
more
trading
dead
him
money
anyway.
against the cap. Yeah, they're not trading him.
No.
Anyway,
I mean,
so,
I could see trading him at the end of his contract. Totally.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
Like
it's not
toward
gonna happen.
the end.
I mean,
No, Ian understands contracts, unlike you. two young
Cam
guys.
Hayward's in the last year of his deal, and if they would never do that. That would be
No, but
Nah.
they have, you know what? Fuck it. Psst, you know what? Good for Cam if he goes to fucking San Fran because he
Yes.
he actually has a chance to win something.
God, that would
you know,
suck.
And
That
no,
would suck so bad.
They-
But yeah, no, I agree with you. I'd be happy for him, but it would suck.
Oh, it would be such a morale blow.
and this,
Ugh.
once again, getting back to Steelers Twitter, they think that like the 49ers are just going to take Calvin Austin and a 3rd round pick. What
Yeah,
the
no,
fuck
a 4th
is
round
going
pick. What are you
on?
talking about?
And
You
so,
know why, Ian? Because
Isn't that who we're
it's
trading
the
for
con
CeeDee Lamb?
artist. That's why.
yeah, James Daniels is a UFA next year. So why would they want him? Guards are making absurd money.
True.
Dan Moore is also a UFA. Why would they want him? And then supposedly Pickens and Freiermuth are off limits. So who
I mean,
the
they have a
fuck-
good offensive line. I don't think they're
They-
going to trade for one of our offensive linemen.
Who on this team? Who? What are you, a fucking owl? Who on this team?
Who are you?
Yes, there
Marcus
we go.
Golden and I'd give him Dan Moore for the hell of it.
But I just like if Omar says, "Hey man, this is the best we can do," and the 49ers are like, "Sorry, dude," but now all of a sudden we have a 3-team trade. By the end of the weekend, it'll be fucking 5 teams. There'll be by the end of the month. By the end of the month, heading into the first week, all 32 teams will be involved in this.
I will give Omar this. To this point in his tenure,
Mm-hmm.
he has been pretty inflexible about how far he's willing to go when making these trades. I will give him that. So basically, he's drawn a line and said, "This is as much as I'm willing to give up." And we're still in it, and the 49ers are coming back and going, "Will you sweeten it a little bit?" And he's like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you're going to get a better offer than this. At least that he'll accept.
KR. Sorry, Ben.
No, it's fine.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Ryan.
Answer
No,
it because Steelers Twitter is not a monolith.
No,
I
it's
don't
not.
think.
KR, I apologize. I'm not bringing all Steelers Twitter users into one. I'm talking about the extreme foolish Steelers Twitter users
He's talking
that
about
are-
the people that
are drooling
troll
over Jerry
him.
Rice Jr.
Yes,
and Omar
yes.
Khan.
That
I mean,
that
the
try
con
to
art. Excuse me. The
they
con
try to
art.
manifest it into happening.
The
through
best
Twitter.
player available in trade and on the down low right now is Adams. Far and fucking away. Devontae Adams is a Hall of Fame talent. If he had a quarterback like Ben Roethlisberger for his entire career, or
Well, the
the
rumor
fuckhead
I
who's in-
heard today is Buffalo
well,
with him. So
Well,
know.
I am in New York, and I do like throwing touchdowns to Devontae Adams. So
if that dude had been if he wasn't so goddamn weird.
or whatever.
all
it's
I'm saying is, do your own research. Just saying.
called. Yeah, do your own.
Did we really land
Well,
on the moon?
Just
I don't
saying.
know.
Yep.
For fuck's sake. All right, let's shift gears here a little bit. Talk quarterbacks.
Thank fucking God. End this Brandon Aiyuk saga.
Scarps,
can't deal with it.
I
You know what?
could just-
I can't wait till it's over. I don't know about
no,
you guys.
I can't either.
Fuck.
I can't either. I mean, it's just, it's crazy. It's like
there are a
people have nothing
handful of
else
people.
going on in their
Alicia's
lives.
gonna catch a ration of shit when this is all over with.
Oh my!
There are a handful
God.
of people that are just
mean,
gonna get
I-
fucking.
Just because you keep tweeting it doesn't mean it's going
She
to
is
happen.
wonderful.
No, listen, dude.
But-
if you say it enough times in a row, you can speak it into
yeah.
existence.
It
Didn't
ain't
you know that?
Beetlejuice and
What-
Candyman.
What is wrong with you, Mark? You are a buzzkill.
Yeah, way to go, Mark.
That's what I'm here for. It's exactly why I'm here. Quarterbacks. Is it fair to say, Ian, that we would, in a perfect world, really like to see Justin Fields win this job and perform well this year?
I think it's fair to say, in a perfect world, we would like to see Justin Fields perform well this year. If he wins the job, I have some serious questions about everything that's kind of gone on this offseason. You brought Russell Wilson in to be the veteran starter, and he's going to, bring some stability to the offense, bring some leadership and experience and all that. And you heard that through the offseason, like from the players talking about working out with him, and even Russell Wilson rolls into training camp, reporters stick a microphone in his face, and he basically gives a scouting report on everyone on the offense, not just the starters, but like the linemen and like the guys 7th and 8th down the depth chart. Like,
I'm pretty sure he knows the speeds of the kids who catch Chris Boswell's field goal attempts too.
Yeah,
I mean, that was impressive.
It was super impressive. Yeah, I completely agree with you. So I mean, you brought Russell Wilson in for a reason, and he's going to be the starter week 1.
Agreed.
And barring absolutely terrible play or an injury, I have a hard time seeing Fields win the job. That said, if Fields plays well in camp, he could potentially earn himself, I'll say, a contract like what Jordan Love got last year from the Packers, where they kind of gave him
last year.
Yeah, last year. The 2-year deal where year 1 was a low salary and year 2 was an increased salary.
Where, fuck you, Johnny.
There we go.
There we go.
I was waiting for it because our friend Johnny joined the chat.
Yeah. Welcome, Johnny.
So I think, like, Justin Fields is a Pittsburgh Steeler. I want the Pittsburgh Steelers to do well. I would like for Justin Fields to do well because he is a Pittsburgh Steeler. But if he wins the job out of camp, I have some serious questions about everything else that has gone on, barring some kind of injury to Russell Wilson.
Look, Tomlin said this week, and it's really the first time I've heard him use the phrase in this particular way. He admitted that they will put more into the performance in stadium than they do in practice. Those were basically his words. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. Well, that's all fine and good, but we saw what Kenny Pickett did in stadium last year, and we all thought we were on the road to number 7, and it went downhill in a damn hurry. So I'm not going to get too fired up one way or the other. Ben, would you prefer to see Justin Fields grab hold of this job and take it? If just mano a mano, not because of an injury, but
perfect world, I would fucking love it.
Yes.
Like I've been saying since they acquired him, before they acquired him, his physical talent is undeniable.
Yep.
What he has going on between his ears, the dude.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, he is the quarterback version of Dan Moore. He will have a good snap or 2 or 3, followed by unbelievable fuck-ups. Just where people are just apoplectic, like, how did you do that? Why did you make that decision? Watch his tape. And then he does some shit where you're just like, wow, man. There are probably a handful of guys in the world that can do what you just did.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's amazing. But then he just makes the worst decisions with the ball. His mechanics are not consistent. It's just weird, man. It's hard to explain how a guy who's at the NFL level, because he's got so much goddamn talent, that's why. But how he cannot, he didn't improve. And I know that he had a bunch of changes within the coaching staff when he was the quarterback in Chicago.
I feel bad for the kid.
You can.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. You can attribute those changes to the fact that the quarterback could not fucking play and was getting guys fired.
Fair.
Okay? So it's hard to say if it was his fault or if it was the coach's fault. Was it the chicken or the egg there, Perfect world, would he come in? Would the light bulb go on and he'd come in and go, okay, this is what I need to do. And in these situations, I need to play more conservative. And in these situations, I need to play more aggressive and and, do all the right things. Absolutely. What I would love to see is him sit behind Wilson for a year. Wilson, by all counts, is a good leader, even though the dude is weird. He's a good leader on the field. Learn from that, and then come back next year and be the guy, and hopefully, do something. But in terms of his physical ability, he's great. I'd love for him to be the guy this year. I just don't know if that's realistic. I'm sorry. I just don't. I don't mean to rain on everybody's parade. I just
No,
don't think that's
it's
realistic
fine.
this season.
Scarps,
If he ends up the starter, I question what Wilson has left.
yeah, well, and I was just going to ask Scarps. Last year, Wilson playing for a Broncos team that it got better as the year went on, but let's be honest, they weren't really good.
That head coach did not want him,
and Sean Payton did not want him there.
Yeah, he seems like a real dickhead.
20. So he goes 26 TD passes in 10 picks. Would you sign up for that right now?
In 15 games, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
that's like 29
and
in 17 games.
And I argued with the Pickett fanboys on Twitter
right
after we signed Russell Wilson because they were acting like, oh, he's washed. He's not going to beat Kenny. And like Russell Wilson topped Kenny Pickett in every statistical category, and Russell Wilson wasn't even very good. But getting back to Russ, well, we're talking about Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
But getting back to the negative comments that his former teammates have said about him, and I've said this on the show, I truly believe that Russell Wilson thinks of his job as just a job. He's not trying to go clubbing. He's not trying to fucking do shit, extracurricular activities. And I mean that unprofessionally. He's thrown with his wide receivers. Like he's done these things. He's a family guy. He's into God. And what's so fucking wrong with that? Like we already had a quarterback who's going to be a Hall of Famer that got into some extracurricular activities that ruined his reputation.
Well, do you think
he turned shit around? Thank God.
He did.
Okay, but good.
But does the fact that, and maybe this is what you're getting to, do they want Russell to be the kind of guy that after the game goes and pours back a few beers, but doesn't? Are you saying that's the kind of guy they want him to be?
No, not at all. I'm saying that his former teammates, I think that's what they wanted. Like those Seattle days, with beast mode, and even Richard Sherman said some shit about him.
Yes.
And I'm just sitting there thinking like we've all and I like Richard Sherman. I would have taken Richard Sherman on my team any day, but like Richard Sherman loved talking and loved doing it.
Yep.
I don't think that's who Russ is about. And yeah, you know what? He's always positive, as Ian has said, and I think he is going to turn some fans off, especially when we lose games. And he's just like,
he's still just okay. Positive. Yep.
Okay. Yep. Through 37 interceptions in a single game, and but I don't know, like I don't know where this whole quarterback controversy comes from. I think that Russell Wilson was going to be held back or held out more than normal, more than a normal veteran or as a veteran, even though he's new to the team.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he kind of tweaked his calf or whatever just sort of elevated that. But getting back to Fields and Russell Wilson is that Russ is QB1. I don't care what anybody says. Don't give a shit. Russ is QB1. The best thing that can happen is Justin Fields learns, he gets better, and then after this year, we make a decision on Russ and Justin Fields. And if Justin Fields sits this year, let's say Russell Wilson does good, some other team wants to pay him a lot of money.
Because we're not going to.
No. But if Justin Fields sits, but we have the tape and we see what he can do, we can give him a fair contract that'll probably top anybody else that wants him. So he's likely the quarterback of the future, but like this is Russ. But you know what? If Russ balls out this year and we can trade Justin Fields, who gives a shit? But I will say this. This is the cheapest this quarterback room is ever going to be. So you better capitalize on this. So if you bring in Brandon Aiyuk, because you want to appease the extremist Steelers Twitter, great. But I'm going to tell you this right now. If you bring in Brandon Aiyuk and you pay him $30-something million a year, and we go our standard 9-8, 0 playoff wins, and we don't have the money to pay a quarterback next year, I mean, at least Kyle Allen will be better than Kenny Pickett. So I
Fair statement. Very fair statement. Ben, I'm dying to hear your QB conspiracy.
I really want this conspiracy theory too.
I was going to go to Ian. Sorry, Ian.
I
You're the
think-
conspiracy.
Please.
I think that Mike Tomlin was insistent upon having a quarterback competition because he wants to show the world that Kenny Pickett would have competed versus Russell Wilson
Yes.
this year in camp. I think that he is trying. He keeps emphasizing, "Oh, we know they're competing. They're competing." He keeps emphasizing it.
He does.
Will not.
He
He
does.
will not shut up about it. I think that Pickett saying what he did, claiming what he did, basically is like him going, I told you to compete, and you would have competed, and you're gone. And
Okay.
this would have been a competition.
I'm going to add something to that. It could also be about
ahead.
Justin Fields and making him think it is a competition so that you truly are getting the best out of him. Because if you're a young man and you know you've got a Super Bowl winner ahead of you, granted he's on the downside of his career, and you know he's pole position, are you going to give it everything you got? Some guys will, some guys won't. So I see what you're saying. I just wonder if that's not part of it too. Ian, I would like to give you the final word on the quarterback thing here.
I mean, it's Russell Wilson's show. You guys pretty much summarized everything pretty well. I completely agree with Ryan's point about him being a little weird. And I've said this I've said this before on the show that we're all going to get pissed off at Russell Wilson at some point this year. But in the locker room, like, the players probably love that, right? That it's like, hey, don't get too down on yourself. Yeah, we lost. We'll come back. We'll get him. It'll be okay. Like that kind of positivity is a good thing, to keep the players on message. And it's probably very similar to what Mike Tomlin continually feeds them with his, don't get too high after you win. Don't get too low after you lose. Keep grinding. Like, Wilson and Tomlin are like two peas in a pod. They're, Ryan mentioned probably pretty well that Sean Payton's an asshole. But like, I could very well see the fact that
Payton kind of announced it. He admitted it this year. He
was
like,
absolutely.
Well, I may have been kind of a prick last year.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
But
Didn't use
Wilson
the word
and
prick,
Tomlin
but,
are going to get along great. Like, they're very similar from a personality standpoint, I think. I think the two of them are going to get along great. And I will say, just to digress from what you two said, I don't think it's a guarantee that Russell Wilson is gone this year. I think the Steelers, if he shows he can play, might pony up like a 2 or 3 year deal to keep him around for a couple years. I would not be surprised. Like, if he leads them to the AFC Championship game,
oh my God,
I could see them paying him for a couple years.
And
do you know what that would cost? You
Yeah,
do.
yes, I
know
do. I do
you
know what that
know.
would
I
cost.
know you can do the fucking math.
Yes,
That'd
probably
be 3
40
years,
to $45
$100
million
million.
a year.
3
Yes.
years, $100 million minimum. Now, I don't mean $100 million per. I mean $100 million total for 3 years, which is, for a 36-year-old guy, I don't know.
This is not hyperbole. Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer.
That is correct.
He will be in the Hall of Fame.
100%.
I
Don't get me
agree.
wrong, though. He's a Hall of Famer at the tail end of his career.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who has a couple, I think he still has a couple good years left.
Is it possible? Is it possible, Scarps? And I maybe I agree with you. I'm not sure yet. I haven't thought about it. Is it possible that he might even say, you know what? We got to the AFC title game. I know we still need pieces here. I don't need a huge contract.
I mean, it's possible. It's possible. But at the
that would be amazing.
Does Russell Wilson need the money? Probably not. But
right. I mean, I think Sierra's doing okay.
Kind of like like Ben at the end of his career. He was like,
let me see your
okay,
let me see your
14 million,
1-2 step.
that's fine.
But yeah,
Well, I don't expect him to play
No,
for
Sierra.
peanuts, but at the same time, if they do make some strides into the postseason and he plays well, you know, maybe he does like a Mahomes or a Brady and says, "Look, I can't be who I am if I don't have people around me." And if
Mahomes
I'm
is
making
making
all the
40
money,
mil.
no, right, but let's be honest, he could be making 60 mil.
yeah. Brady in his prime always took a team friendly
Yeah.
deal, and I truly mean that. I'm not talking about like every Steeler fan with like he'll take a hometown discount to come here. No, he's
Well, I think
not.
we all want to believe that guys will, you know.
Again, let's say
He's a
Russell
board
Wilson.
member of Acrisure.
Oh boy, now we're getting into the
conspiracy. But I would say, but here, okay, so here you go. Russell Wilson has a great year. We win a playoff game.
Yep.
We win a wild card game.
Yeah, that's fine.
Losing the division to Patrick Mahomes, and we say, Russ, you got us there. We believe in you. We give him a deal. And then someone says, hey, Justin Fields, he had a good preseason. Looks like he had a year to learn. How about we give you a 3rd and 4th round pick for Justin Fields? Who gives a fuck? Okay, great. Like, we actually have options at quarterback now that we've never had before. Like, we have we have a proven capable starter, and then we have an okay capable starter. And honestly, at worst case scenario, Justin Fields is at least going to run. You know what I mean? Like we haven't had this. We haven't had a.
Ben is being extremely inappropriate on this family program. Just check the chat for those of you that watch later. Because I'm not repeating.
I mean, we talk about quarterbacks. Now we got Nickelback. What is going
Just
on?
The fact
here?
that he mentioned Nickelback. Holy,
We actually
shit.
should talk about the Nickelback position.
We're getting there, Ian. But I
playing very well.
I do have one.
It was a Beanie Bishop point. It was a Beanie Bishop.
No. I do want to get to the Nickelback position, but what I do want to do is Ian, I want to ask you this question.
Okay.
What do you think is going on with our 3 offensive tackles? Tomlin said Broderick Jones is going to start at right tackle. Dan Moore is going to start at left tackle tomorrow night.
Yes.
A lot of fans look at this like, hey, wait a minute. You drafted 2 first-round tackles. Why aren't those your 2 guys? So what do you think is going on here?
Despite what a segment of Steelers Twitter thinks, the NFL is not like Madden.
Water.
What?
I know, shocking,
It's not?
right? It is not. Madden is not an accurate representation of NFL football. It is a fun game. It is a fun game to play on occasion. Apparently, to trounce your children and let them know, who's the real boss in the house. But nevertheless,
from experience.
Yes, I do. In fact, although with us it's NCAA football, but they they thought they were so good. And they're like, I want to play dad, and then they're like, oh no, I don't want to play dad because it's 35-0 in the first quarter. And
Ian's running the same play over and over.
Yeah, heck yeah, I'm running 4 verts against them. And they can't stop it. You run that shit until they stop it. At any rate,
Yeah.
That being said, the NFL is not like Madden. Also, the first depth chart, the first preseason game, it doesn't fucking matter, right? What was that kid from Tennessee that we drafted? It was an offensive lineman, Scott.
Chris Scott.
Jonathan Scott.
Right. No, Jonathan
Chris
Scott was
Scott.
a tackle. Chris Scott was the kid from Tennessee. We started him at guard one year, the first preseason game. He was so bad.
Nicest kid in the world, though.
I don't think
so bad for him.
I don't think he ever ran with the first team again. And there may have been like some veterans
for the rest of his career.
He got cut after camp that year.
What's
like
he doing now,
Scarps?
He's like a financial advisor or something like that.
But
I don't know. Let me.
it was one of those things like whoever starts the first game does not matter. That said, what they're doing with the tackles in camp, from all the reports, they're rotating them. They're trying guys in different places. They're moving them around. They're giving them experience. Here's the thing. Here's the thing why it matters.
Unfortunately, they're not playing our friend Dan Moore at right tackle much.
if your long-term goal is to have Broderick at left, Fatano at right, that's fine and good and all that. But what happens if somebody gets injured, right? What happens if what happens if you have to bring Dan Moore in? Well, Dan Moore can't play right tackle. We tried that. He's awful. So he can only play left. So then, okay, you got to move Broderick over to the right. But we're installing a new offense this year with a new offensive coordinator. So Broderick's got to know the right tackle shit too. So you got to practice him a little bit over there too.
Mm-hmm.
So they're moving guys around because they're also planning for contingencies. It's not just here's the plan, this is what we're doing, you're just going to plug in here and play.
I like it.
What happens if Broderick gets hurt? Well, shit, Fatano's got to know the other stuff too. So like you got to kind of move guys around in the preseason and in practice, because we're talking about practice, that so they have some experience with this stuff. And at the end of the day, not only is it experience knowing the playbook, it's experience with the guy next to you, that when you play tackle, you have to be able to communicate really well with your guard.
Absolutely.
And we've seen this the last few years, that it's taken the line, 6 to 8 weeks to gel to get that communication down, to learn how to handle a stunt. Because if the guard yells something at the tackle and the tackle has no clue what they're yelling, and I'm passing this guy off or whatever the call is, right? Or even, when you go to a road environment and you got to go to a silent count and you got to do hand signals or whatever the audibles are, like you got to learn all that stuff. So you got to practice next to the guy, and that's the kind of thing where you got to just get reps. The more reps, the better. Mm-hmm. And right now they're just getting guys reps. It is what it is.
I like your answer. I totally agree. I think that's exactly what happened.
What did you say? What was that? Sorry.
Oh, for God's sakes.
You want me to repeat all that, or
go ahead?
Jesus. Speaking of new offensive coordinators and a new offense, do we think Brandon Aiyuk's just going to walk in here and know exactly what Arthur Smith wants to do?
Didn't you know he was at practice yesterday? He was kind of hanging out on the sidelines.
I mean, maybe.
What's wrong with you?
I mean, seriously, if Tomlin walked in tomorrow and had some dreads on or something, a lot of people would be like, "Oh my God, it's Aiyuk!"
Yes,
that picture of that guy in the rental car.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Using over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So,
okay, I wanted to ask Ian. I think you nailed it on that. I think it makes good sense. Get your guys knowing those positions.
I have nothing to add. That was perfect.
No, I don't either. So let's move to, you guys wanted to talk a little bit about Nickelback. Certainly not the band. Beanie,
you know what? Johnny loves Nickelback. Well, actually, that's not entirely true.
Why am I not surprised that Johnny loves Nickelback?
Johnny doesn't really love Nickelback. He loves women that love Nickelback. Go figure.
Ben sounded a little bit like Peter Frampton there.
Just saying.
Yeah,
It's not really that he's actually a fan of
Nickelback.
He's not really a fan of the band per se. He just likes to hang around, kind of in the area, like outside on the perimeter of
I see.
Like fanhood. Like you got Nickelback, you got their fans, you got kind of a bubble there. Then you got Johnny right outside the bubble, hanging out, waiting to meet the chicks that love Nickelback. I really think, although she will not admit it, I think his current girlfriend loves Nickelback, and she's just not admitting it because she knows we'll make fun of her.
Well, maybe there needs to be an intervention.
We all love her, but we're pretty sure she's actually a Nickelback fan.
Can I interject real quick?
Yeah, let's get this back on the road here. Go ahead, real quick, Scar.
Well, this isn't really back on the road, but
for fun.
Johnny brings up Dave Matthews Band, and we know Ben is a huge Dave Matthews Band fan. And today is the 20th anniversary when the Dave Matthews Band tour bus dumped 800 pounds of human waste.
800 gallons. 800 gallons into the Chicago River.
800 pounds.
It was 800 gallons.
It's pounds. Are you going to tell me this is misinformation?
I'm telling you that 800 gallons is more than 800 pounds.
Okay.
I'm sure that the 800 gallons was their entire discography.
They dumped it on a
take
tour
it up
boat.
with the Indianapolis Star, and they dumped it. They dumped it. Holy shit, you're killing me tonight, Ben.
Oh,
And
Ben's internet is right up there with
He's on
1984 dial-up.
He's on fucking lo-fi. He's got DSL.
God damn it.
You need to call those Verizon
And you want to talk about so those poor people on the boat. The poor people on the boat had a shitty day. Let's just say that.
Hey, it's not like they're in the River Seine or anything.
All right, get back on track still, Dad. So what are we talking about?
Yeah. Nickelback, Beanie Bishop Jr. He's a rookie. He's out of West Virginia. He played mostly on the boundary in college. But, Ben has been on this guy since day one. Kudos to him for that. He's a smaller guy, plays really, really good, facing the quarterback and stuff. And I obviously Cam Sutton's out for the first 8 weeks. And then you've got Graylin Arnold, who has had some injury issues, but has played pretty well. And so, I'm excited for Bishop. I'm excited to see what he does. It sounds like Houston's going to play their starters tomorrow night. And I'm excited for that, because if he plays well, great.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't play well, eesh.
You want me to? Yeah, I'll go.
Go.
Good for him. He's a hard worker. He's determined, and that is not a favorable position to be in. There's going to be growing pains, but if he thinks, if they think he's their best option, he's got to prove it. It just can't be a fun position. Like it's
tough.
Especially I'm not saying TJ Watt's job is easy. It's not. I sit there and think shit, man, would you rather just try to run at the quarterback every play, or try to run with a bunch of guys that are really fast every play? And I would probably rather go against an offensive tackle.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I just think it's going to be fascinating to see what they do with that. And did I hear Tomlin say that they had Deshaun Elliott playing a little bit, in their big nickel. He's played a little bit down there as well. So, I'm curious to see, exactly what they do. And again, you have to take it with a grain of salt too, because you're not going to see a lot of stuff. It's going to be very vanilla, which
we're used to that.
Yeah. Oh my God. We are the vanilla capital of the NFL, at least recently. But so anything else, guys, from the depth chart that caught your attention at all?
No, I mean Tomlin always just puts the veterans first, so it's not a surprise.
It's really hard to draw anything serious from Tomlin's initial depth chart,
right?
Because it's like I used to think it was meaningful, and it's really not. It's kind of horse shit. Like Zach Frazier, we all know that eventually he's going to start this season, for example, because who else do they have?
Everything I've been told is that Herbig is not making it easy. He's playing very well. He's handling things both mentally and physically. But I agree, when you spend a second round pick on a guy, you expect he's going to take over.
It isn't just that.
Yeah.
Herbig is that guy who is solid, but that's it. That's all.
Right.
Okay.
And
he is the Travis Kershke of the offensive line this year.
Travis Kershke was a very solid player.
He was solid. He was
solid.
You're going to get
but he
solid
wasn't
play,
good.
but you're not going to get spectacular play.
Yeah,
he wasn't good.
He played D-line.
Yeah, no. I understand the analogy Ben's making, but my question,
the Doug Legursky of the offensive line this year. Fine.
Okay.
Is that better for you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. At least I fucking picked it.
Solid,
At least
but
I
not
fucking
good.
picked the right
Actually,
fucking line.
Legursky sucked at center, so maybe not.
Yeah, I guess
he gave it a good effort.
The question I have with Herbig though is we've seen him play guard acceptably, but when you have to snap the ball and then get up in your stance, that's a completely different animal.
For sure.
And Arthur Smith loves the pistol, and personally, I love the pistol set too. Mm-hmm. But the amount of shotgun and pistol stuff, I remember Marquise Pouncey saying towards the end of his career, I can't believe how many shotgun snaps we have to make now. Like, when I started in this league, it was, you made maybe, there's 60 offensive plays. Maybe you did 20 a game. And now it's like 55 out of the 60 snaps or shotgun. And like for a center,
so basically he was making an excuse for snapping the ball of his quarterback's head in a playoff game.
I think it was before that.
Fucking asshole.
But at any rate, like the league has changed, and like centers have to be so much more accurate, and with their shotgun snap, like snapping is totally different now than it was 20 years ago, when a lot more was under center, I formation, all that kind of stuff, or even ace formation with the single back with still a quarterback under center. The amount of shotgun and pistol usage is completely different. And I think, one of the things we've seen in recent years,
plus
too,
it translates from the college game too.
Yeah. And one of the things in recent years, snapping the ball is not just about accuracy, it's about speed. That who was the backup center we had with like Kendrick Green got benched, and then
Hassan Saucer.
His snaps were so slow.
Yeah.
Like it looked like they were just floating back there to Roethlisberger, and like those fractions of a second. Those fractions of a second matter with like the edge rushers that are so fast off the ball now, that it's like if you don't get it there with speed and accuracy every time, and not only that, they asked Kendrick Green, which was stupid, to also be the guy to make the audible call. So he's trying to snap and call the line audibles. Like at least now, I think it's James Daniels now that makes the line audible calls.
He has been.
Last
year.
Which is helpful to, Zach Frazier potentially as a rookie center coming in. But like playing center is not an easy job, and everything can collapse if the center sucks. So, and with the shotgun snaps, and you got to snap the ball and get your head and body up to block a guy coming at you. It's, I don't know. It's not an easy transition to go from guard to center, is what I'm trying to say. It's much easier to go from center to guard than it is from guard to center.
The fact that Frazier comes from that wrestling background, I mean, it's
helpful.
Oh my God. I'm not saying it's a golden ticket.
It's helpful. It's helpful.
But it's very helpful.
If you're losing early in the rep,
you
can change the leverage and win.
Yes.
That's the thing you find about those guys. If they're losing. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Scarps.
Scarp.
I just okay. Let's see how the older Herbig does tomorrow night.
Tomorrow.
I getting back to the whole Aiyuk thing, because it's all related, is that Steelers Twitter is like, oh, they'll just they'll take James Daniels or Dan Moore. And I sit there and think, like, those guys are the oldest guys on our offensive line. And this offensive line is young and has no guidance or no direction. So, you want to say Dan Moore sucks? I disagree. I think he's okay. We don't need okay there. And I think we have better there on both sides eventually. But, James Daniels has experience at center. I don't think Herbig is the long-term answer at center.
Oh, fuck no. No way.
Absolutely not.
No, but I hope he's a long-term Steeler, truly.
But, I don't disagree. But, like, here's what I'll say. They drafted Marquise Pouncey, and he was behind Justin Hartwig on the depth chart. Justin Hartwig, nice guy. But Justin Hartwig got fucking his walking papers immediately, and we all knew it. Like, so, like, is Zach Frazier going to show that? And I'm not saying they're going to make the older Herbig walk. I'm just saying that, like,
no, but
Zach Frazier has an opportunity.
Marquise was a Hall of Fame talent. I don't think that
is Marquise Pouncey a Hall of Famer?
Yes. Not a first ballot guy, but he's a Hall of Famer. Dude, the guy was
why?
He was an 8-time All-Pro.
Yeah, you can't. I mean,
Okay.
I get what I get where you're going, Scarps, but
The dude was an
I love
8-time All
Pounce,
Pro.
but
yeah,
like
you
and,
can't
I don't know how
deny
many fucking Pro Bowlers, how many Pro Bowls.
the
I don't know.
accolades. Yeah.
Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. Late in his career, he was getting by on
he was not.
reputation.
How many times you say he made All Pro?
8.
He was a 2-time All
Check.
I was
Pro.
gonna say, I think he's
Bullshit.
8 Pro
Really?
Bowls.
8 Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
8 Pro. Okay, so I mixed
Well,
up.
Really?
don't
Fucking
for-
Pro Bowl. I love
Don't
Pounce.
forget.
I
Don't
fucking
forget
love Pounce.
too. He was a rookie center that
Pouncey
would have
gets
started
in.
in the Super Bowl, but he got hurt.
Pouncey is not like a first ballot guy, but Pouncey gets in.
Yes.
Okay,
Alright.
okay, that's fair.
But I
So-
and
so
I,
if-
I'm
if
just I'm
Pouncey
weighing it
gets
this
in,
way. Tackles,
Nick Mangold gets in.
tackles,
don't
for
even-
sure.
man.
No, Mangold gets in first, but you get tackles and centers get
So
it easier
fucking
than
rude.
guards. No, Mangold gets in.
Nick
he
Mangold
will.
and Marquise were the two best fucking centers. So if you're gonna put Pouncey and Nick Mangold was better.
I don't know that he's
God,
better, but
I don't know
this
if
is-
it's better, but I
good.
think
Am I-
he
am I
gets
talking to-
in too. Yeah.
Am I talking to
Mangold
Steelers
was really,
Twitter
really
right now, or
good.
am I
You're
talking to
super
Steel City
angry.
Blitz?
Nah.
really
Mangold
angry.
was really good, but nobody. I mean, the way Pouncey could pull from the center position,
exactly. That was. The
I
thing.
don't know of anybody that could do it that well.
Well, there was this guy
Yeah.
named Dermontti Dawson.
Well, yes, I'm
Pouncey and Nick
talking more in the
Mangold are the
modern
two best centers
times.
from the 2010s, and they'll both
Yes.
get in. I'm just,
That's
So
correct.
I thought you were saying he's a first ballot guy. I don't
No,
know.
No. I'm not
no,
saying
no,
that.
no,
I don't think that
Okay.
Pounce is a first ballot guy, but I think
My
he's getting in.
apologies.
Yeah,
Um,
I am with Ben on that all the way.
Wow.
The other thing I'll
Okay.
say is Pouncey had some of the fastest hands I've ever seen. The way
And he had
He was-
long
They
arms.
were
He was-
ridiculous.
able to get up from
Yep.
snapping the
He didn't have
ball
long
to getting
arms.
his hands in a guy was
His
like
arms
ridiculous.
were 33 inches. They weren't that long.
Pouncey?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were longer than that.
No, he didn't have like tackle arms, but he I mean, like I guess like interior offensive linemen frequently have like 31-inch arms. So he had 33-inch arms, but
Oh, all right.
Pounce had really fast arms. Ian is correct.
Yes,
100%. It was the speed at which he moved, the quickness.
So, what do you guys want to see tomorrow night? Look, we don't need to talk about, I don't want to get injuries. Those things are, given, right? But
Obviously,
Well,
we want no injuries.
right. But Ben, what are you looking for tomorrow night? We're gonna see some new guys. Some people I
I
haven't seen in a
want
while.
to see what we got a whole bunch of guys that aren't playing. All right. Watt not playing. Cam
Right.
Hayward not playing. Highsmith
Right.
not playing.
Right.
Minka not playing.
Correct.
Let me see.
Sumalo
Samalu not playing.
not playing.
Who else? There were 7. Russ Wilson not playing.
Russ, yeah.
And God damn it, I tweeted it earlier this week. I can't remember. You know why? I've been drinking. We've had
Yeah.
some drinks.
We've
We've
had,
some drinks, ladies and
So
gentlemen.
we got some
Don't-
guys that aren't playing. So basically, what I'm seeing is this: the first team guys or first teamish guys
Right.
are going to play a couple of series, and everyone else is going to play the rest of the game. I want to see guys compete hard.
Okay, Richard, that's funny.
Things have been net.
That's funny.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. That's actually, you know what, Richard? You know what? That's like the best point that's made.
That's
in the
funny.
Chat. That's one of the best points I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
Philip,
made in the
welcome
chat
in,
ever.
man. Good to have you here,
Yeah,
Queen.
Philip, Queen is not playing next tomorrow.
That's right. He's
So
out too.
because he's been nicked up a little bit. So yeah. So
Okay.
basically, what I want to see guys do tomorrow night is compete hard, play
Yes.
fucking hard. I want to see guys go in and fucking work their asses off, and then obviously I want to see how the new kickoff thing works. Hiccup. I want to see. Hi, Jen. I want to see
Jen,
how.
that's a great question because that little tropical depression Debbie or whatever, little Debbie is moving up the
Little Debbie.
the
Little
coast
Debbie.
with one of her. Little
Here's a
She's
guy
got
who
a-
wants some
she's
snack
got-
cakes.
Little Debbie's got an oatmeal pie for us, and she's bringing it to
right. So that could
the
be
old
a factor.
Heinz. To the old Heinz at Acrisure tomorrow
It's
night.
raining
Easy
snack
there.
cakes in here.
So I'm just saying. So the long and the short of what my long ass diatribe, because I'm a little bit. We've had some drinks. You may have noticed.
We've had some drinks.
Is
if you're not familiar, that's
I want to
what we do
see
here.
guys compete, and I'll stop here
shit.
because I don't know if I'm making sense anymore.
You never make sense, so go on.
Fuck off,
You're like the talking head. Stop making sense.
Good one, Scarps. Ian, what are you looking for tomorrow night?
The only important thing tomorrow night is that there are no injuries. Anything else takes a back seat. I agree with Ben that you want to see the guys play hard and compete, but coming out of the game healthy with no injuries is the most important.
Absolutely, it always is. It always is. Yep. And is it Tom that mentioned the new punter? I don't think I've ever been so excited to see a punter. I want to see this guy punt for the Steelers. I mean, I saw him last year for the Texans when they had to punt like one time.
So what
I
other
hope he
point
doesn't ever have to punt at all.
Well, I know I don't either, but I actually want to see a guy that can get it high.
I know
far,
he can
and directional.
If you want something high, far, and directional, I think Steelers Freak can help you out with that.
Indeed.
But
well played.
To answer Jen's question in the chat, the current weather forecast for Pittsburgh tomorrow is that the rain's supposed to stop in the early afternoon. It's going to rain overnight into tomorrow morning.
Okay.
But it's supposed to stop in the early afternoon. So it may be sloppy, but it's supposed to be not precipitating by game time tomorrow night. So, we'll see how that impacts things, but
we all know how well the turf at Heinz Field holds up.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Scarps, what are you looking for tomorrow night?
Beat you to it, Mark.
I guess I got to say it. Justin Fields,
there we go.
DeMeco Ryan said that.
What are you looking for there? Like, you want a birthday party or what?
You fucking drunkard, you.
Good show until
I want to see Fields. I want to see Fields go against some starters that may or may not be playing 100% because their jobs are safe.
Sure.
They might be playing in a vanilla scheme too.
Jesus Christ. We talked about this earlier.
I'm just saying, dude. I'm right.
Okay, fine then. I want to. What I'm looking for, I want to see an impact rookie or younger player on the Steelers create some buzz that makes Steelers Twitter think he's going to make the team, even though there's no shot that he's going to make the team. There we go.
What a dick.
Well, I fucking had a thought, but Ben fucking shot it down.
No. Why did you put that up there? That actually was a really good point. I'm serious. That was actually a really good point, Scarps. That was awesome.
It's a great point because we see it every year.
We see one or two guys. I want to see a
that's what I
bunch
mean.
of
You
guys.
See one or two guys every year.
I don't want to see one or two guys. I want to see the intensity allegedly this year, because I haven't been there. Has been really high this year at camp.
Yep.
I want to see that translate over. I want to see these guys fucking come out hard, play like they're playing, like they're auditioning for a fucking job.
Well, and some of them have no option
and the
but
rookies
to do that.
Impress us. That's what I want to see. I agree with Scarps 100%. And I would say, and depending on the Aiyuk situation, this wide receiver group, there's a chance that a guy that's down the line could actually get a helmet come the regular season because he plays special teams and he's half decent. Because after Van Jefferson, Roman Wilson's hurt.
Yep.
Calvin Austin's unproven. Who's that fifth guy? And they usually do carry 5 wide receivers.
Scotty Miller.
Okay.
Miller's. You know what?
Has
Scotty Miller's like
Watkins-
5'9", 175,
Okay,
dude. He's
so here's-
super. He's really.
I'm
he's
just throwing
intimidating.
names out.
So
I'm
here's
just
my
saying, Scotty Miller is really intimidating. You should really respect
for all
the
the
artistry here.
and we all know that everybody on the Steelers is watching this podcast. So my wide
You'd be
receiver group from the
surprised, Brady.
Steelers, if you're watching this, can you not beat out Scotty Miller? I'm just saying. Because if Brandon Aiyuk does not come here, this receiving room is terrible. It is
It's
bad.
it's not
Well,
good. No.
And I would say
It's-
this, even with
know,
Aiyuk in a
nah.
run-heavy offense, I don't think it's as great as everybody's acting like it could be.
Okay.
Could it be sufficient if you run the ball? You're only using 2 wide receivers at a time. We know he
lot of
loves to
tight
go
ends.
double tights, even triple tights at times. I think anybody thinking that this is going to be a fun, exciting offense to watch, I think you're in for something different. But I'm not. My thing is the offensive line tomorrow night. That's what I want to watch. I want to see where that group is. But I'm not ready to cast all these receivers out just yet because I want to see how they do. And I understand what they're going to be doing is against vanilla, some basic offensive stuff anyway. But I still want to see, are they making catches? Are they blocking? Are they running routes? You know, those types of things. And
That's
then
a
we
great
can go
point.
from there. Ian?
Sorry for
Nope,
interrupting.
you're
but
fine.
I think I want to see a route tree out of Calvin Austin. I want to see him run some different routes because
That would
he
be exactly
ran-
what I'm talking about.
he ran like 2 routes last year. So I want to see, whether or not he's the number 2. The reports on him out of
But
camp are
that's
all
what
really
he was
good.
asked to do last year.
Right. What I'm saying,
In fairness,
yes, and I think to Mark's point about the wide receiver group being passable, right, or being workable. New England won. Go back to the early 2000s with Brady, right? They
Yeah.
didn't have a star wide receiver. It was like Deion Branch and Troy Brown, who was also playing defense for the 1 year, and they just had all these little dudes who were like 5'11" that could just zip all over the field. They didn't have, that was before Randy Moss,
Yes.
before Gronk, all that other
dude,
stuff.
Scotty
Like-
Miller's 5'9".
Okay, but here's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, make your
What-
point because it's a good one.
What they did was they had an offensive coordinator who put guys in position to make plays that maximized their skill set, and they had a quarterback who could get them the ball in the right
No
place
doubt.
to make plays after the catch too.
Which also helps.
Yes, it certainly
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah.
But I think really, we've loaded up on receivers that have a lot of straight line speed. Van Jefferson, Quez Watkins, Calvin Austin, right? That if Arthur Smith can design an
Who's
offense,
going to play the X?
hear me out here. If Arthur Smith can
105.9.
design an offense
Thank you,
to
dick face.
maximize their skill sets,
You deserve that. You've been
The-
a dick all night. I'm just teasing.
other than George Pickens,
Just
you
tonight,
can have a
really?
passable receiving core.
Ian, I'm sorry. That was my
You
fault.
guys were hilarious behind my point. Like this is gonna play great if you're not listening, if you're not watching us be dicks like live. Like if you're just listening to the show on Spotify later, it's actually gonna play great because like I'm making a salient point and you guys are just jobbing each other.
Ian's
That was
still sober.
amazing.
Fucking
Yeah.
John. Listen, the Breakfast Club has made it to the
Holy
has made
shit.
it to the YouTube chat.
Where's Molly
God
Ringwald?
damn.
Speaking of people who listen to the show later, quick
Mhm.
shout out to my buddy Denny. His wife's due to have a baby any day now. Might have
Oh,
been
wow.
today.
Right
Um,
on.
so
Congratulations, man.
Yes.
Danny.
Well,
Yeah,
hopefully Denny is listening to the show and not paying any attention to his soon-to-be.
You know what you should do,
child.
Danny, is like get a pizza delivered to the hospital. Your wife will be so impressed
All right,
Well, you're
I'll
eating pizza.
share.
as she's as she's in labor.
My first child, my daughter, my wife was in the bathtub, and I got up and I went in there, and she's in labor, and she basically told me to get the fuck out, don't come in here. And I went down and I sat down, and the Big East tournament was on. And so I'm watching Georgetown play, and I was eating a bag of Doritos, and she never lets me forget that.
Are you shitting me?
Oh no, that's what I was doing.
Where did she give birth? In the hospital? Or
Eventually,
in the bathtub?
they brought her to the bed, and then I delivered my daughter. Believe it or not. But the Dorito, I remember her.
You delivered Steel daughter yourself.
I did. Our midwife. It was hilarious. Our midwife grabs me and says, "Here, slap some gloves on." And I'm like, "Okay." And basically, you kind of get down like a catcher, and it's like, "Hey, come on," And she's like, "Go ahead, grab the head." And I'm like, "Seriously?" And just start pulling. I'm like, "Really?" Just yeah. And I did the same thing with my son. It's quite an experience.
That's awesome. Yes, we
had
an accidental home birth. You had an on purpose.
That
home
sounds
birth.
horrible.
Yeah, right.
I never
Steel midwife. I like that, KR.
I never, ever want to experience that. Thank you, Mark.
It was great. It was great.
You are a fucking weirdo, but all right.
Hey, wait, hold on. As a member, as a amateur midwife, apparently, because I delivered my daughter in the bathtub because
that's right.
We had an accidental home birth.
Which daughter was this one?
This was Maggie.
So
this was
Maggie.
kid number 5.
God, we love
you
Maggie.
Knew this story.
Maggie has been on the show many times.
She has been, yes. But that was kid number 5.
We love Maggie. This is number 5 of 12, by the way, for the listeners.
6, but
number 5 of 10 kids that Ian has in Pittsburgh.
6,
because he's Catholic, and it's a large family thing.
This is correct. At any rate, my wife was just like, "We're not going to make it. The baby's coming now." And I was like, "Okay, all right. It is what it is, and we're doing this." And so we had a bathtub baby. We remember the accidental home birth club, but that was like 5 years.
I mean, honestly, props to you both for doing it. But I'm just saying, for me, that would have been very difficult.
Freak, Freak's not wrong. It was actually one of those little pirates helmets you get from Dairy Queen,
or at the baseball game.
Right.
Little pirates that you get from Dairy Queen. So it was like sitting on top of your head.
Yeah. I was not at all prepared to be an accidental home birth club member,
man.
But you got to do what you got to do.
You know what, dude? Yeah, at that point, you just got to do it. Because what are you gonna do?
We're going to. By the way, do you guys have predictions for tomorrow night?
Who cares? It's a preseason game. Who gives a flying fuck?
I'm going to say
who gives a shit?
11 Steelers.
I'd say 1916 Steelers.
Love it.
So.
I know. Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
I'm going to go 5-4 Steelers.
That's great. Yeah.
No. Yeah. Whatever.
We're going to go to Casey. And then we have a little bit of an announcement at the end. So
you keep. I don't want to overshadow this announcement, but I'm gonna.
Did you want to do the announcement first and then Casey? It's up to you.
Yeah, let's do
the announcement.
Okay. All right. So here's the announcement.
Wait, I need a beer too. Go ahead.
That's fine.
Probably
go get your beer.
This won't really apply to you anyway. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna do the first ever SCB Steelers Podcast Fantasy Football League. And we want to open the door to all of our regulars who are here every single week with us. You guys are insane, and we love all of you. And so, Ian, I'm going to kind of let you take it from there as to how you get involved with this.
All right. So here's the deal. The Ben hates fantasy football. Ben hates fantasy football, so he's not involved in
right.
this.
Just don't listen to him.
Yes. All right. So we're hoping for 10 to 12 people in total. So it will be Steel Dad, Scarps, myself, and Aaron, who does graphics for us, as the 4 SCB representatives.
But I mean, Aaron's an asshole because he's like an Ohio State fan.
Let him finish, Ben, for God's sake.
At any rate.
I'm just saying.
So there are potentially 8 spots available for people. So we're going to do it on a first come, first serve basis. And the way to get involved is send a DM to the SCB Podcast Twitter account that shows a screenshot that you are subscribed to our show, whether it's on YouTube or Spotify or whatever. Just show us that you're subscribed, and we will DM you back a link to join the Fantasy Football League. If we have a lot more interest than the 8 people we can fit in the Fantasy Football League, we may also do like a knockout league where you pick one team a week to try and stay in. Maybe Ben can do that because that's easier, and it's not fantasy football. But at any rate, first 8 people to send a DM to the SCB Podcast account on Twitter that shows that you're subscribed to our show in some respect, then we will send you a link. So
yep, and more. Yeah, we'll try to get around 8 to 10 more, and it would be fantastic. And I think Ian mentioned no prizes involved, only bragging rights. Throughout the season,
no money to register.
No money.
It's free to register, but the winner may get some SCB.
Oh yeah, we can hook up winners with swag.
Well,
and stuff
for
like
sure,
that, for sure.
And maybe
Kenny Pickett, if you're watching, you're not allowed to join.
Hey, Kenny Pickett might be watching because he might need a job.
Not invited. Kenny might be the 13th
if you need a beer, Ben, get a beer because we got Casey. Whoa, fuck.
Yeah.
Beer
so anyway, that's
beer before liquor.
That's
I'm
the big announcement. We should have done it sooner, but now we're doing it. And Ian just posted this. I'll post it right up there. And if you happen to be a listener all the time too, try to get in.
Really, I mean, seriously, we really appreciate everyone who who listens and who shows up and who interacts with us. We really, really appreciate that.
We're just here or knobs or
on Twitter or whatever. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
we appreciate
we've had tremendous audience tonight, and we're up over 400 subscribers now.
Tremendous audience in general, but we just appreciate you all.
Yep.
So much.
And I will say that this Fantasy Football League really came out of the chat during the show.
It did. Absolutely.
People in the chat were like, "Oh, we should do a fantasy league. That'd be fun. Why not?" And we were talking on Slack. We're like, "Yeah, why the fuck not? Let's do it." So we set it up, and So
I objected, but they didn't listen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you were overruled. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to the show, we're going to go to Mr. Casey Kasem, straight from the grave, who will enlighten and entertain you. Go, Casey.
I need to collect myself before we do this.
Oh God.
Casey is coast to coast, American Top 40. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the week that was August 8th, 1992. Our favorite correspondent, Ryan, is back with us again this week, and he writes, "Dear Casey, Aiyuk is on fire. We don't need no water. Let the draft capital burn." Casey, that's of course The Roof is on Fire by Rockmaster Scott and the Dynamic 3, released as a single in 1984. Not only is The Roof on fire, Steelers Twitter was on fire this week, and not in a good way. I'm sure you've heard by now that the 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk was traded to the Steelers. Hang on. I'm being told he has agreed to terms. Hang on. I'm being told that no deal is done. Hang on. I swear to God, I'm going to hang myself if this goes on for much longer. Casey, as you know, saying things are weird is the trendy thing on the platform formerly known as Twitter. Well, Steelers Twitter, let me say from the bottom of my heart that you've been insufferable this week, and you are weird. You're more desperate than J.D. Vance at a Value City furniture liquidation sale. Wow. You've been drooling over a wide receiver that you think is going to be Jerry Rice, but will actually be Minute Rice in Arthur Smith's offense. You've been slobbering over a general manager that hasn't done anything in this league. Build Omar Khan a statue? For what? Having a cool nickname? Remember the last time we wanted to build someone a statue and crown him early? That's right. It was Kenny Pickett. You were ready to build the statue of Kenny Pickett, And then Zach Gentry pissed all over the blueprints.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
It's fucked up, but funny.
But, the con artist. He's the greatest GM of all time. Kevin Colbert, who? It's not like Kevin Colbert helped build teams that, actually won shit. Omar is just so much cooler because social media told me so. I swear if I hear Omar fleeces one more time, I'm going to rip my ears off. I'd rather have Kamala Harris cackle in my ear for an entire weekend than hear the word fleece one more time. You see, Casey is fair to both sides. Casey, the only fleece Omar has is that quarter half zip Steelers pullover that he had to pay for himself because the Steelers are so cheap that even the general manager couldn't get free merchandise.
Oh, wow. Holy shit.
All I want is this for Aiyuk saga to end. Well, Ryan, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Please seek help and keep your dial tune right where it is. Up 6 spots this week to number 28. Here's Toad the Wet Sprocket with All I Want.
Wow. Oh,
Toad
Wow,
the
that
Wet
was-
Sprocket.
That was an
my
angry
God.
Casey this week.
That was a
Wow.
very angry Casey.
Wow.
A very. I like how he was very angry yet very unbiased. He took shots at both sides.
He took
You
some
know?
balance there. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was
Hey, everybody
tremendous.
relax. Listen,
Just
everybody
breathe.
just chill.
Everybody breathe. Everybody just breathe.
I made a point earlier in the chat is that,
I like
everybody
who's
hates-
John Bender. We need to get the John Bender.
John
on the
Bender.
I know, I
We need
agree.
to get the
He was
rest of the
fantastic.
Breakfast Club in here.
Listen, everyone hates the Ravens and the Cowboys more than they hate Kamala and Trump. Let's be frank.
That's right.
All right.
We have to remember that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let's remember this thing because this can bring our country together.
Casey.
This is the thing. This one thing. Our hatred of the Cowboys and Ravens can bring
my
this
bad.
country together. I'm just saying.
You never know, Ben. You never know.
I'm just saying.
I'd
we
vote
are,
for Casey Kasem's head.
we're
now.
And hatred of hippies, but not many
Well,
people. Like
yeah.
some people share that. Okay, I have that,
shit.
but not
We
everyone.
are,
Everyone, but some people.
we're 96 minutes in.
Why are you guys so weird?
I don't know.
okay. Sorry. What?
yeah.
One last thing.
Yes, please.
Here we go. Ian's
I
sober.
realized that maybe. I realized that because Steel Dad sucks at setting up Twitter accounts,
What the hell
the-
did I do?
SCB Podcast Twitter was set up to allow no one to DM them.
Really?
So I have just now.
Why are you an asshole, Mark?
So I have now changed the settings. So
Thank
if you
you,
tried
Ian.
to DM us to join the SCB Fantasy League, it wouldn't have worked.
Well, don't we have to be following them anyway?
No, you had it set that no one could DM us. So I changed it. So
'Cause
now,
most people are
fuck?
assholes.
all right. So I changed it. So now people can
Thanks,
send us
Ian.
DMs if they
Okay.
want to join our fantasy league. Check the chat or go back in the show before Casey to see how to do it. All right.
Yes, I
And hey,
agree.
listen, if you guys need help with Excel spreadsheets,
Oh yeah,
Yes,
I'm here for you.
yes, yeah. Any case, thanks everybody for being here tonight. We absolutely appreciate you and love that you're here with us. And make sure you check out the site, steelcityblitz.com. If you are a follower of Western Pennsylvania high school football, Ian has started cranking out some of the conference stuff there as well, and he'll have you covered all season long. He does a fantastic job with it. So just go to the homepage and look for the WPL stuff there. And of course, we'll have Steelers coverage and everything else and our thoughts coming up on the game from tomorrow night as well. So have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the game tomorrow night. And thank you. And don't forget, go Steelers.
Ravens suck. Donkey balls.